The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
And welcome to Council Edition for Wednesday, December the 5th. I'm Doug Farraway. More downtown casino talk, a groundbreaking of significance, and a new report on licensing in-house rentals. And there's a whole heck of a lot more. Our guest is Ward 2 Councillor Jason Farr. Good to see you again.
It's great to be back on Cable 14, Doug. Hi, everybody.
So let's talk about these cranes in the downtown and the significant groundbreaking and a long story that began in August of 2011. We saw the demolition of a building that a lot of people were in love with, but the sod turning on that property happened earlier this week.
Yeah, groundbreaking. You just made me think we may not get chickens in Ward 2, but we definitely have lots of cranes. And right across the street from a $150 million development that many say was born of that project across the road, where we're seeing 54,000 visits a year, 450 staff, and thousands of students coming to downtown Hamilton with the McMaster Family Medicine campus. A McMaster campus. I still love the ring to that. We turned a page with the groundbreaking yesterday, and somebody said in the press conference prior to the official ceremony of putting those silver shovels into the dirt that it's a groundbreaking, and it certainly is. I mean, this isn't just any old campus. This is doctor training in downtown Hamilton and state-of-the-art research. And so now it's a reality. It's just a few short years from fruition, and so many people like Senator Braley and my colleagues on council who supported to the tune of $20 million this project and stuck to that strategic plan, Doug, of paying attention to the issues of the downtown core as they relate to bringing post-secondary, and we are doing that in a very big way.
Well, it is a huge undertaking, $80+ million at the corner of Main and Bay.
Yeah, we get that public health component as well, where our managers and directors of public health will have an opportunity to occupy a few of the floors. That was part of the arrangement. We'll lease space there, and they'll work closely together with those doctors being trained and those doctors that will be working downtown as well on this innovative research. It's also one of the many facets of what makes this a really cutting-edge deal for downtown.
And some breaking news on Council Edition, as we do every week. It's a wonderful thing moving to Wednesdays because you guys are coming out of GIC, where everything happens these days, and Jason Farr actually got here a little bit late because you were making an amendment to a motion and debating that through Council with regards to 50 Main Street East, another heritage building.
Well, you know, the
heritage
frontage
property, but the building itself is not. I found that interesting. But certainly McMaster 10 years ago helped the city of Hamilton by coming downtown and occupying that building. So what was your amendment today? What do you want to see happen there?
Well, first, Councillor Collins, there's a mandate now by Council to get a reserve going, because we can't just keep tapping into existing reserves. With respect to the issue of school surplus properties, clearly we're going to have a lot of school surplus properties in the near future if everything goes as planned from the Board of Education. And so the city is usually up there on the list with first right of refusal on buying these properties, and at the very least, maybe we don't want to turn them into parks, but maybe we want to control the planning process and what becomes of that property once the school is no longer part of that piece. And so we needed to put a reserve together. I worked with Councillor Collins very closely on creating a surplus and creating a reserve through surplus of city property. And this was an obvious one that was staring at us, a 10-year lease from McMaster University, and we thank them for answering a call, much like they did with the family medicine 10 years ago, and bringing continuing education to the old courthouse property. We said, you know, the lease is up, their 10 years lease is up. I had a conversation with Councillor Collins on Well, that being so, why don't we appreciate the fact that McMaster answered the call, give them a first right of refusal, and I can amend that motion as such and put that clause in, and that was supported near unanimously by the General Issues Committee. It'll be ratified Wednesday at Council, next Wednesday at Council, in allowing McMaster University the opportunity to own that building in the near future and do some great things there like they've been doing for the last decade, Doug.
Do you get the idea that they will take the city up on the offer?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I think one needs only to look at President Dean's mandate. I mean, since coming into power, for lack of a better word, there at the renowned McMaster University campus, he made it very clear to Hamiltonians, to students, and to the local government and other levels of government that he has a mandate to get into the community, to bring McMaster into the community. And we have a strategic plan with the City of Hamilton to obviously focus on the downtown and the waterfront. And so it all fits, it all works, and I'd be quite happy if they jumped at this opportunity as presented today in the form of an amendment on the surplus motion.
Very interesting to watch City Council last week as we continue on the theme of certain birds downtown, those cranes. And a vote came out of Council that was 9-7, and it was reminiscent of the old urban-rural split. Was that really happening, or was there a different dynamic? Because the 7 who were nays were talking about process when it comes to moving up projects, and you and Councillor McCaddy were pushing very strong that, look, we have developers who are lining up, who see the potential in downtown Hamilton, and you were just trying to push the process a little faster. So, and then you came up with, I guess you were a media guy in your past, Merry Christmas Downtown Hamilton. You came up with that line,
liked
which
that,
stuck with.
you?
Oh, I did like that. It stuck with me.
Well, because it is a Merry
debate.
Christmas. If you know, we've had a great year. The City of Hamilton has a great couple of years. We're working toward, and another great one by all projections for 2013, Doug. So here's a program that no one can argue the success of, even those, and it was a split, but
the
primarily
residential property investment program.
That's right. So we offer loans to get development moving in the core, and it all began, I think, years ago, where we were offering loans that banks wouldn't offer, and low interest loans. And so there's a $400,000 budget item. And remember, the process at City Hall is we can deliberate for months on the budget, but nothing gets passed until the final day of deliberations. All that we talk about doesn't get passed until about March 1st, that meeting in March. And so we're saying the taps run out on this loan program. We want to enhance it based on 6 pending developments that we know of. We needed to enhance it by millions and millions of dollars, and to do so we need to cover off the interest, which is roughly $400,000. In the end, we had settled for half of that between now and March. So we basically were saying, let's not wait for approval, and let's not go through the usual process, which I think we all respect, for a program that, by all accounts, most, if not all, council and the mayor would support, given that the return on the investment for every dollar, it's about $6 or $7 in return to the tax base. So,
and virtually the 7 who voted no were agreeing with the 9 who were voting yes.
They were, but they're just with the process issue.
The program is a great program and has worked for Hamilton. Yes. But to them, it came down to the process. Now,
right, and so when I said, Doug, and I love this new setup, so I can interrupt you more often. It's really good. What I was saying was, you know, we came up with this because there's 6 pending developments. There's 6 that we feel very comfortable about. And when I said Merry Christmas Downtown Hamilton on a few occasions, it was because I feel quite confidently as the Ward 2 councillor in moving at least half of the recommendation, half of the money, half of the interest, the $200,000 instead of the $400,000. What we're essentially saying is we're opening the door for half of those 6 to announce themselves or get that application process in well before March. Merry Christmas Downtown Hamilton.
And you thought one could announce as early as this week.
Right, and it's more cranes and no chickens.
So where's the announcement? I'm waiting for the annountment. Is there one that's impending?
Okay. Yeah, that was a lead question. Thank you. Nothing official right now, but I feel pretty confident that at the very least we'll hear of 1, maybe 2, quite possibly 3, before, if we follow process, March.
All right. Now,
but I want to say I appreciate where my colleagues from the other side were coming from. It may have been a little divisive just based on that one criteria, but I don't see it just so happened it was an urban rule vote. It presented itself as urban rule, but that's just something that's obvious to those in the media that followed it based on the way the horseshoe was set up. But I don't think that had much play in the decision.
Let me ask you this question. As the Ward 2 councillor, you might be tapped in just a little bit more than a Ward 15 councillor, for example, as to what projects might be happening or coming down the chute downtown. And I don't know if you know all of them. I don't know if you know who the developers are. But there seems to be a sense that this is going to be very exciting. I mean, so tell our viewers, I mean, what excitement level do you have about what you know is coming that could be in the hopper within 3 months?
Well, that's up to those people who are making a significant investment into the millions to make that announcement on their own time. Certainly, I'm giddy. I've been giddy for the last 2 years. There's just a tremendous amount of activity in downtown Hamilton, and it's not just development activity, the burgeoning art scene and an unbelievable movement on the waterfront as well, with respect to OMB decisions pending and most of them being made, and what the Waterfront Trust has been effectively doing for many years now, but we're really seeing some results. So I would leave it to those folks who are willing to make that multi-million-dollar investment. It's their process. What I will say is I'm often working with Urban Renewal, Glenn Norton and his group, often making the inquiries and asking the questions and following up on rumors. I mean, it's like a little town downtown, Ward 2, and a lot of people talk. And a lot of those people making the investment are working with downtown architects and builders who have head offices in the core and so on and so forth. So you can't help but hear things, and certainly, it's my objective to make sure I get a good understanding of who's coming up to bat. Is it for real? And is it something that we should legitimately be excited about? And I think the report pretty much indicated there are 6 pending developments that we should be excited about.
And you get to be there in the picture with the shovels or the big snippers cutting the ribbons. Yeah, it's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it, right?
It's interesting. I'm not uncomfortable by that, but I certainly there were other people much more significant than I that deserved it, particularly the Braileys and Mayor Bertina, who spent a lot of time, if you're talking specifically on the health campus.
Speaking of the Lister, which has become a shining jewel downtown. I hope they manage to fill it up soon, and I'm not being facetious or sarcastic.
No, it's a good question.
It's a brilliant thing that this city managed to pull off, even if it was with only seconds to go. The #1 building now, and I'll even put Ockmar as #2, but the #1 building want to see people want to see happening is the Connaught. Is there anything on a back burner, in the stove, bubbling, anything happening with the Connaught you can tell us about?
Yes.
Tell us about it then.
Oh boy, I get that question 3-4 times a day, Doug. It is the next Lister. It is the jewel, and it's right in the heart of our city. It's part of and will be part of, in the near future, a Gore Park master plan that with a focus on pedestrianization and tremendous things happening as announced, imminent, I'm sure, with respect to the Blanchard properties just 2 blocks over. But again, that's it's up to the 2 local individuals, respected local developers who have made that significant investment on that piece of historical property to time it the way they want to time it, announce it the way they want to announce it. And certainly that is top of my list of the pending developments in which I try to keep abreast of and keep track of on a regular basis with people like Downtown Renewal. But there's not a lot of details. I'll tell you that I feel very, very confident that maybe we even get to say Merry Christmas Downtown Hamilton on that one. If not, we'll say Happy New Year.
Well, a newsman would start salivating at what you have just said, so it sounds like something is impending for the Connaught.
Feels real good.
All right.
Real good.
I'll leave it at that. I won't twist your arm behind your back.
I can give you some phone numbers and you can call them directly. How's that?
Thank you so much. I think I already have them. To the casino debate. Look, the bloggers, and we've done a lot of chatting, Larry Deanne on his show, The O Show, you name it. The bloggers, the editorialists, the casino debate is just raging. I love reading everything I see every day on Facebook, etc. But the latest development is public health.
Yes.
Coming out with some numbers, and certainly they were allowed to take a look at the Toronto Board of Health and their numbers about the situation in Toronto. And there was one paragraph, and I think because we're both former news guys, that in particular caught our interest from Dr. Richardson's report to Council. The impact of gambling on youth is particularly concerning.
Sure.
And so that is added to the debate. Your thoughts, this came forward, the numbers about impact on youth between grade 7 and 12, I think should give us all pause as this debate continues on. Your thoughts on what you have heard this week, your thoughts in general about the whole debate.
Well, just to the first point, I mean, statistically, yes, the number is, it's disturbing with respect to youth and problem gambling, and that's not just Hamilton youth, but they do factor in. That's across North America, and I don't know whether it's the savviness that our young people have online, but certainly the presence of online gambling probably is attributable to that. However, it's certainly one of the many factors with respect to a casino, and particularly for the Ward 2 councillor, that's me, when you talk about a casino in downtown Hamilton. Young people are susceptible, quite obviously, through these statistics. But also, if we stretch the facts further that we learned from this Hamilton Public Health report, which borrowed the statistics from various sources with respect to the Toronto Board of Health report, which ultimately is pretty much telling the Toronto councillors be very, very careful when you make your decision there. But it was Toronto Public Health, there was the Ontario Problem Gambling Institute that was part of our report, the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health as well, and they identified that problem gambling, Doug, is a significant public health issue. This is what our Board of Health told us as we move forward in the next few months in making what is a crucial decision with respect to a casino, wherever that casino may be. We know already that 1% of Hamiltonians are subject to or have problem gambling issues, whether they're moderate or heavy risk problems. We know that 18% of individuals, 91,000, close to 92,000 Hamiltonians, spent more money than they wanted to while gambling, and a higher percentage, 20,200, actually went back to a casino to try to win their money back, which is evidence of a pending problem with respect to the issue of problem gambling. The one key point I want to make about the Board of Health report, and it was significant to me, I felt unfortunate that we didn't have an opportunity on Monday to debate it. However, I do understand. We often get these massive reports on the Friday. They get added to the agenda for a Monday or a Tuesday, and there are so many other reports that we had already anticipated having to look at prior to whatever the committee, GIC, Board of Health, or planning, or whatever. And so, given that there were some members of the Board of Health that didn't have an opportunity to go over what was pretty staggering results from this mandate of our Dr. Richardson and others in our City Health Department, we didn't have a chance to debate it, and I was ready to debate it. I have a vested interest, quite obviously, because you can't hear the word downtown without hearing the word casino in the same sentence these days. And I had a lot to share, but the one thing I was able to, though there was a referral, we broke the rules a little bit, let the downtown councillor talk about proximity that we learned in that study, and what proximity means as it relates to the folks that live in the area of the casino. We know we have some poverty issues in our core, and if you have a chance to take a look at that report, I won't get into too much detail on the proximity issue, but read on the proximity issue of that report and what it means as it relates to having a facility where one can gamble at easy reach, and what that could mean to those numbers that I've already identified here with respect to problem gambling.
Some of your colleagues have been very distressed with the fact that we don't know who the protagonists are.
Yeah.
We have a deadline coming, but we don't know what the proposals are, who is behind the proposals.
Right.
What's your anxiety level on that subject?
Well, you know, somebody said, I can't remember who, one of my colleagues, and I've been following Toronto as well, and Toronto has had a whole whack of different proposals presented to them by the outside investors and by the outside idea people. They weren't, not one of them in Toronto were presented by council itself. So they've been able to weigh in on prospective developments with respect to the issue of a casino. We haven't had one. And so what are we talking about? We hear Tim McCabe, the general manager of planning, talking about a greater development that comes along with a casino, that the casino is only part of a bigger downtown or bigger city development that adds to the economic well-being of our city. Like a giant hotel comes with it, or shopping center and everything else. And, oh yeah, the casino's over there in the corner. City building, I believe, is how he refers to it, or don't quote me on that. Other people have said the same. And then you've heard the rumors, and I'm sure, Doug, you're in the know, you've heard the rumors too. But we haven't had anything solid, anything official presented to us, be it at a committee level or even a phone call or an email. With respect to, here's my plan, I'm Mr. X, and I'm from Hamilton or somewhere else, and this is what we want to do, and we're going to be part of this OLG process. Not one. And you're right, the clock's ticking. We had that extension. It was about 3 weeks away, and the OLG gave us now until March.
Just under 5 minutes to go. I did want to acknowledge the one-way, two-way forum that you hosted on November the 26th. A lot of people very interested in that. Speak to that, please.
Yeah, well attended, alleviated. I hope a lot of people from across the city had a chance to watch it, because it alleviated a lot of fears with respect to what happens when you go two-way. And a lot of people are just used to a one-way cannon or a one-way queen.
Yeah.
And there were some very qualified comments, especially by the delegates at the end of the meeting. Good things happened. We can translate a lot of what we have already, Doug, in our transportation master plan, and maybe because of this study group approved by council going forward, so these people that were in the room and many others that are going to join Councillor Morelli, Councillor McCaddy and myself on walkabouts along Cannon and Queen, have more discussions, whether it's in council chambers or other areas of the city, because it's a citywide issue, according to many, about transforming our downtown, making our downtown much more sustainable, a much more pedestrian-friendly people place, and actually achieving objectives that were already put in place by previous councils with our transportation master plan. We have a pedestrian mobility plan coming too early in the new year, and I know, having read it well in advance, I read the draft, that that's going to really fuel our argument for two-way streets and or complete streets, making it a safer, more pedestrian-friendly place. So it went very well, and if anybody's interested in joining our study group from across the city, you want to do some walkabouts with the councillors on Cannon Street or Queen Street, please don't fail to contact my office, jasonfarr.com. You'll get all the information, and I'd love for you to be part of it, no matter what your position is, by the way, on the subject.
And watch all of our platforms for news of when that public forum, that town hall, will be broadcast in its entirety on Cable 14, so that news is still to come. Look, you had some good news today.
I did.
And that was all about the Knights of Columbus and something very near and dear. You have a lot of projects, I know you, but this one is close to your heart. Kids Coat Drive from the Knights of Columbus. Tell us about that. And then tell us about the social activity downtown Friday evening.
Oh, okay, absolutely. What I got, about a minute 30 here?
You had about three or 2.5. Go. You know how
I
to
asked
do this.
producer Mike, look at, we got pictures and everything. This is a very special council edition here. So there we are with the Knights of Columbus, who just a few hours ago, Major Brown of the Salvation Army receiving 4 boxes full of news coats for the kids this winter. There's Dr. Rizzo making the official presentation. He's one of the great knights, of the many great knights who've been at it for so long at All Souls Church. That's where they run their division of Knights of Columbus, in giving back to the community. That I didn't have to twist their arm, but I'm so glad they allowed us the opportunity to take some pictures and let the greater community know of all their great work, including initiatives like this. They do it throughout the year and throughout the years, and if you can support them, please do so. It was great.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it. 4 boxes. I'm in that business now, so I know what's happening for you.
We could have got them from you at a cheaper rate? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not exactly what I was suggesting.
Okay.
You've got CHML's Tree of Hope lighting, and they've been doing, I don't know how many years, 25?
Right.
I don't know how many years now, but They do an awful lot of work in the community for organizations like Neighbor to Neighbor, and there's at least 35 organizations the last time I checked.
Sure.
But that's happening this Friday night. And what, you and Bill Kelly?
Yeah, I'll be up there with
Hosting
Bill,
the show?
and Scott Thompson and I will be doing some stuff on the radio. I'm really happy to be actually back. I worked there for many years, and to be part of the team. Mayor Bob is on serious business out of town, so I'll be stepping in. And why not? It's a good choice, and I quite look forward to working with Bill. From there, we'll be going over to International Village after we will light the tree, roughly around 6:30, folks. Hopefully you can get down to Gore Park. We left a lot of that pedestrianized planter boxes. We just recently put Christmas trees in them. You're going to love it aesthetically between Houston and James, where all the action takes place. Then take a walk east to International Village. You know where Deningers is, that whole area of downtown Hamilton. If you have not been to the Victorian Christmas night in the city before, it's really something to behold. Very special. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of snow because the horse-drawn wagon rides and the entertainment, it makes that complete streets area of downtown, that two-lane traffic area, and that beautiful part of downtown International Village really shine when they do this annual Christmas event. From there, we go to the Jamesville Fun Fair at McDonald High School. If you live in the Central or Beasley neighborhood, you might already know about this and want to be part of it. It's the next big neighborhood development initiative, and they're bringing a whole bunch of people together at McDonald, and then to the Turkey Roll at St. Lawrence, where I'm the only guy that buys a whole bunch of tickets and never walks out of there with the turkeys. Have you ever been to a turkey roll?
No, I haven't.
Oh, there's a lot of turkeys.
I think maybe
no
this
chickens.
weekend I'll start.
No chickens, Doug. No chickens, but
no
there's
chickens,
plenty
no
of turkeys.
cranes. It's just a turkey roll.
Yes.
The very
St.
busy
Lawrence.
councillor from Ward 2, Jason Farr.
And
Pleasure
loving
to
it.
see you
And
again.
loving
Thank you
it.
so much.
I really appreciate being here and being back on Cable 14.
That's the Council Edition for December the 5th. Join us again on January the 9th. And until then, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm Doug Farraway. I'm going to get a new voice for 2013. Thank you for watching.